So let's go to accounts payable here real quick, just so you can see how the game is going to work and why we're going to finish some mapping. And maybe this will be like, we got to go in ahead of the game and do all the mapping so this works. So let's go to AP transaction entry. So this isn't necessarily how we're going to do it, but this is where we would enter a batch if it didn't need approval. So say okay to this, and we're going to put in a little invoice, enter. So grab a vendor, hit F4, that could conceivably be an equipment expense where, and we could, let's grab enterprise, because they're going to send us all this maintenance stuff, et cetera, et cetera. And this is the invoice number, so we can dummy up some sort of reference number is your invoice number, and then enter. So then this would be just a description of an invoice. And then nice little feature, if you put in 12, bam, it would be, so whatever you type in there, if it knows it's December, bam, so you don't have to put in a bunch of dashes and slashes and stuff.
Okay.
So then an amount, let's just dummy in an amount for an invoice total, say it's $500, whatever you want to. Okay, so now if you hit the little chevrons, it'll bring you down so you can allocate it.
Oh.
So you know how whenever you do invoices, you have to put in a header, and now you need to allocate the darn thing. Hit N, which will give you a new or a next line. Instead of job, let's change it to equipment. So hit your little drop-down area where it says type. Right down below, up a little bit, up,
job here?
up, where it says type.
Okay.
So basically,
right.
as you change this, it changes the coding functionality. So
Okay.
go equipment. So if this is an equipment invoice, enter.
Okay.
Enter. F4. So let's grab equipment number 1. So here's our equipment list. Now, we're going to hide these because I don't believe you're going to use components, those embedded things. But hit enter, we can certainly hide those. Now hit F4. Cost codes are required. So this is where, remember that cost code list? Just like jobs need job, phase, cost type, equipment needs equipment, cost code, cost type. So we may just have one called repairs and maintenance. So 100 we could repurpose to repairs and maintenance. If it isn't important for you and you don't get the information broken down by, was it tires, was it windshields, was it transmissions, was it whatever, because you could break it down, or we could have repairs and maintenance.
Yeah, I think we just, so ultimately we would get it broken down, but all that is really tracked through enterprise.
Right.
So I don't think that it's nothing that I think we really track on our end.
Right.
So if we were to have a general.
So 100,
repairs.
we might just repurpose to repairs and maintenance.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So let's grab fuel right there, but pretend that is going to be repairs and maintenance, because we're going to rename that here shortly. So it's a list of things that is at the level you need to track it. Now it's third-party repairs. Okay, so what's going to happen here is click into cost code, hit F5. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go in, rename that description, repairs and maintenance, and go to your cost types, please, and do 3, because 3 is, if you hit F4 and do a lookup, that is third-party repairs. Now, if you ever hit capital LS for lump sum, now the question is, we're kind of leaving 1 and 2 for labor and parts in case you ever got a mechanic in-house again and did that, but we don't really have that. So the question is, would we set it up so we can use it later, or should we leave it like this so you can't pick it by mistake? So cancel out of here. So now, by you coding it to that cost code, hit enter. Hit enter. Now, actually, so let's go to equipment number 1. Hit F5. This is where the departments come into play. That department right there, 1, click into there and hit F5 again because we're going to the setup of the department. Hit the cost types. So that 1B should be mapping to the 776011 whatever automatically, because that's what departments do. So, you know how you grab it now from actual, then you code it and it maps it.
And then
Kind of
pushes it.
flipped. So cancel out of, cancel out of here. So that cancel out here. So that is set up properly. So do me a favor, hit undo so we can do this. Now that it's set up properly, hit N. Go to equipment because we'll say, okay, this is an equipment invoice. And 1 is our equipment, enter, enter. 100 is our cost code, 3 is our cost type. Notice what's automatically popping in here.
Okay.
If you have this set up properly, people just code it. They don't have to worry about coding it to the GL.
You
Because
don't
my
have to, because
departments,
the cost code and cost type are driving where it's going to.
bingo, and exactly right. So that's why kind of right after lunch, I'm like, ooh, let's hammer out what kind of costs are going to hit the equipment besides repairs, maintenance, and lease, because we have those two. Is it depreciation? What other reporting would you want out of your system? I'm getting most of my repairs and maintenance detailed from my enterprise system, but outside of that, what kind of costs hit the equipment that we can manage those in there? So now my $500 hit there and hit save. So at this point in time,
So what
Yeah.
is this? I mean, is this,
hit F4. This is what we're going to talk about for the rest of the day. If there was materials, we're going to build a material list, the item database that he
okay,
was looking
okay.
at. We don't have anything in there yet, but you could. So now go to File, Process Batch. So now validate. This is going to hit AP, Equipment, and General Ledger.
okay,
But it's pushing up, isn't it? From the AP to the equipment to the General Ledger. Preview. So it's going to put a $500 invoice out on the open payables. It's going to debit the vehicle repair and equipment set pre-filled that was on the mapping and credit my AP account.
okay,
So I'm getting a General Ledger entry, cancel out of here. Here's my AP entry for EM. For that piece of equipment, that's Sierra. It knows it costs $500 repairs and maintenance against the Sierra,
okay.
specific to that piece of equipment because we grabbed equipment number 1. And then of course, AP, this is my open payables because 500 has to sit in my AP module as an open payable so I can select that for payment in the next step. Cancel and post, okay? So I just want to show you, hey,
Okay.
why do I need that equipment cost code and cost type? Because things push up to the GL by coding it to equipment, cost code, cost type. I map it on the department, kind of different than Maxwell where I choose the account and then I hit the thing. I got to build it from the ground up is
So-
what we're doing here.
When you're in that AP transaction, you're entering it. If, just throwing it out there, is there any way to select that cost code and cost type and then potentially
Override it.
override the GL?
There's a little button that says allow override to that. I only have 1 or 2 customers that do that.
I mean, I would,
They want to lock it down and
Yes.
have that subsidiary ledger tie up by things. So they want the AP department mapping to lock it down.
okay,
So, but there is a checkbox that says allow override of the retrieval process.
oh,
Okay?
okay.
But,
And I've been, in a general sense, we wouldn't want that, but
that is
if there
correct.
was, for whatever reason,
Okay.
I mean, do you have the capability of going in there and modifying that? I guess
Account.
you could just do it through,
There's a checkbox, but you have to have permissions. And the question is, do you want to open that up to potential issues? So the key is to create a cost code, cost type coding system that's
that
bulletproof,
covers, yeah.
that covers all your bases and gets you what you want. And that's what we're doing right now after lunch. I just wanted to show you how that game's played in the subsidiary ledger that's linking the GL to the equipment, and it normally comes to AP. And it'll be a bunch of that enterprise stuff. And any other equipment-related expense you can think of. So kind of think, this is how we're doing it now. How do we want to do it going forward? You know? I mean, because we can keep exactly what you got, or you could say, you know what? I really want to use my equipment module to micromanage this, this. You know, repairs and maintenance, I think we've got it covered, you know. But it's kind of all those other things. We got leases set up now, and then the question will be depreciation. Normally, most of my customers have a hard time routing insurance through to each piece of equipment, because for whatever reason, it's very easy for your insurance company to slap a big old invoice for insurance for all your vehicles, but they don't break it down on an equipment by equipment basis. Even though that's how they derive their total amount, is by the number of pieces of equipment, how much it's worth, and et cetera, but they don't give you the information broken down by that thing, like we get at home with our car insurance.
Yeah.
If it did, I can import that in and I can micromanage it, know exactly what it's costing me to own and repair that piece of equipment. So that's kind of my point for this whole thing is, how much or how little do we want Vista to do when it comes to equipment management? It'll do as much or as little as you guys want it to do.
It's one of those
And
things
that's
that
what
we
we're
can keep going
brainstorming right now.
Okay.
And we could obviously ramp up whenever we need to after, as we move forward, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
main thing is
expand,
knowing all the capabilities.
expand on it, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and so usually that's why yesterday I had to bring up the GL chart of accounts and say, hey, where's my equipment costing area in my chart of accounts in GL? Then I open up my cost codes and cost types and start mapping to that. Because instead of going straight to the GL, I'm going through the equipment module by cost code and cost type, and that's getting me to the GL accounts using my department mapping. So it's kind of a roundabout way, but I'm going through an individual piece of equipment to get the detail in the equipment module that rolls up to my amounts in the general ledger in the equipment area of my income statement. Kind of with you on that?
Yeah.
That's how the game's designed to work. So I'm trying to kind of make sure you're happy that, okay, I know what I want, let's make it do this, Don, and then I'll coach you on how to make that happen. So far, I know that we've only got it set up to kind of, and we'll get in there and hopefully finish that and then segue over to the material